Well, guys, it's another week of the West Virginia channel on Voice of College Football. I'm here tonight, and I have a special guest going to be joining us, and we're going to talk about a few things. A long list. We're actually going to have segments tonight, and it's going to be new. I hope you enjoy it. So stay tuned. So tonight we're going to have Joey Foster. So let me bring Joey on. There he is.
What's happening? We got to change your little. We got to change your little flash thing. It said hosted by Joey Foster. Well, I didn't even realize it said that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. We have so many intros, and that's the one that's like just the perfect time, just 7 seconds. Yeah. But Joey, before we get started tonight, I thought we had talked, and we're going to break this into segments, and I'm very excited because the first segment is why we don't talk about recruiting.
I like that segment. I do, because it's like the Queen of England. It don't really matter. It's like the King of England. It don't really matter. Mm-hmm. He has no say. He has nothing. We have no say in recruiting at all. And a recruit comes in and says, "Hey, I'm coming to West Virginia," and then come signing day, he's like, maybe not. And guess what? We might find somebody in the transfer portal a little bit better. And so it might be better to pay attention to the transfer portal than it is to recruiting, in my opinion. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I used to follow. And I remember back in the day, I'm sitting at my office at West Point, New York, and I'm like, Patrick White, Dauphin, Alabama, 3-star recruit. And that's probably one of the last times that I actually remember what was happening in recruiting, because 10 years ago it was relevant and guys would stay a few years. But even like that kid Ford that was supposed to come here, and there's all these guys you get excited about, and it just doesn't pan out. So, Nico was probably the last one I was super excited about getting, because I watched his game when he was playing high school ball in Arizona. It was on ESPN, and he came back, and they literally carried him off the field before he went out for that last series. And I thought, holy shit, this guy is a stud. But, just wondering.
I look back on recruiting at West Virginia, and I think to myself, if I look back to 2004 and bringing in those kids like Pat White, Steve Slayton, 2004, 2005 era, Pat White, Steve Slayton, Owen Schmidt, big Owen Schmidt, all of that. When I think about bringing those kids in, Pat McAfee and stuff, I think about these kids were not highly recruited at all.
No.
These were kids that were just overlooked by pretty much everybody. And Rich Fraud seen something in them and brought him to Morgantown and realized that he had to have a different style of play than everybody else to make West Virginia stand out and to make us good and make us, one of the elite teams in the country. And he managed to do that. Hats off to Rich Rodriguez for doing that. But we just didn't recruit big players. So people today that look at me and say, "Well, your recruiting is subpar. You're between 30 and 50, somewhere in there every year. You're somewhere between 30 and 50. Well, so what? Back then we were 2 in a way. If you think about back in 2002, 2003, 2004, we were lucky to crack a top 50 in recruiting. But them boys came on.
Race. That's like placing 4th in a NASCAR race with just stuff that you've had laying around in the backyard garage. I mean, that's what we're talking about. West Virginia football is punching above their weight class, and they'll always have. So don't give me that nonsense that they're the 15. And I say this all the time. You're the one that let me know that this was the fact. The 15 most winningest program, and the most winningest program that doesn't have a national championship. So you can't tell me that they haven't figured out a recipe. for success. And I think Neil Brown's doing a great job of recruiting. I'm very excited about who he has coming in this next year. But am I going to do shows about it every week? No, not during football season. I might talk about it in the off season, but I'm not going to talk about it during the season. It's like the Steelers talking contract renegotiation during the season. It's just something that I
when you talk about recruiting. So give me a 3-star player or even a low 4-star player. Hell, I'll take a 2-star player, a 1-star player, or no star player. Really, if he buys into the culture of the state of West Virginia. Right. So that's what happened with when you think about players like Jeff Hostetler and Daryl Talley and Del Wolfley even, right? Major Harris, Reggie Rambert, James Jett. These guys bought into a culture and made it what it is. And then you go on down the line, you got Adrian Morrell and Avon Coburn and then you get Geno Smith and Avon Austin. They bought into a culture. And they were 3-star talent with 5-star mentality. Some of them, not all of them. They were 3-star talent with 5-star mentality when they got to Morgantown. If they'd have played at Iowa State, who the hell knows where they'd be right now? They bought into the West Virginia culture. So that's the kind of players that I think we need to look for. We have to look for that mentality that says, okay, I want to come in and I love this state. I love the people. I love the atmosphere. I love everything about this state. The mountains, the trees in the fall, whatever it might be, whatever tickles your fancy. That's what you've got to buy into as a football player in Morgantown, West Virginia. And the more of them players that buy in, the better. And I think in 2005, 6, 7, those eras, we had them players that bought in, like the Steve Slaytons and the Pat Whites and the Pat McAfee. Hell, Pat McAfee is still bought into this culture, right? I mean,
Right.
He just donated $1 million to our NIL. So I look at this and I think, wow, this is really cool that now we've got players that look. Last year, Zach Frazier left Morgantown. Zach Frazier ain't forgot Morgantown. He bought into the culture at Morgantown. He loves Morgantown, right? So that's going to be great support here a couple years down the road. And I know he made a big mistake in the Pittsburgh game this time, but it wasn't his fault. But anyway, so listen, Zach Frazier's a great player, and he's one of them players that's going to be somebody that can bring some recognition back to West Virginia, just like Pat McAfee has, like Major Harris did, like Pat White did. Zach Frazier still has a lot to bring back to Morgantown, too, in the future. That's the kind of players that I want at Morgantown. That's the kind of players I want to see. So I don't give a crap about recruiting. I really don't. I give a crap about which player is going to buy into our program, into our state, and actually do something. And that's what I care about. And because look, we're not Alabama, we're not Ohio State, we're not Georgia. I'd love to be getting 5-star recruits and have 5-star recruits sitting on the bench with 4 stars backing them up. That would be absolutely awesome. But we can't do that. So, and the only way to win in Morgantown, and I think it's been proven over and over again now for the last several years, is you've got to buy into Morgantown. And that's what teams of the past did. And that's what teams are starting to get back to, is buying into the Morgantown. And I give credit to Neil Brown for that, because under Dana Holgerson, nobody bought in. After Geno Smith and Tavon Austin went away, look, there are no players in the Dana Holgerson era that actually bought into Mountaineer football that come back and support the program. There's just not any. Name me one.
He didn't value the old dogs coming back, the alumni coming back and hanging around the program. And I think Neil Brown has. And to Neil Brown's credit, 2 weeks ago, ready to freaking hang him from the rafters. But listen, he has a good culture there. Yeah, he does have a wart, and that wart is the fact that he can't. He leaves a few games out there that he should win. But if he brings in some more talent, does that cure that? I don't know. But that's where we stand on recruiting, guys. Joey, I don't know. What else is there to say about this?
I don't know of a single thing. Next topic.
That wraps it up. So next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the Big 12, the matchups coming up. So stay tuned. So it's that time of year where it's getting knee deep. 4th of July, the corn's supposed to be knee high. And this past week, the corn's starting to turn yellow. So that lets me know that it's about time that we know where the studs are and where the duds are. And we're starting to kind of figure that out. But we talked.
But just don't ask the ESPN FBI.
No, don't ask them, because you know what? Even though West Virginia has, they're 1-0, just 1-0. I know, just 1-0, but they don't have a loss. They have teams that have a loss, and actually a team that West Virginia beat in conference standing, which is Kansas, ahead of the Mountaineers, which is just mind-boggling. But let me show you guys the schedule here, if I can pull it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to chat and talk about these games coming up. So, is that Friday night that Houston plays TCU? Yeah, it is. So TCU, guys.
Let me do something. I think I've got something better to bring up.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I think I do. Let me bring it up here. Well, crap. Let me find where I'm at. Present. Share screen. Yeah, I think this one might be better for us to go by for games this week, if that's what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
So, guys, first game of the week. Here, pull up that first game on Friday if you can.
I don't have that one. The only thing it's got this is top 25. This is top 25 only.
Well, I want to cover all of the Big 12 games. So.
Oh, okay. I don't have that one, so you might have to bring yours back. Okay, let me just drop that one back to the bottom, and you bring yours back up. Sorry about that, guys. This ain't a professional broadcast here, is it?
No, we're like that Breaking Bad. We're trying to cook meth in a RV.
In a camper, yeah, in an RV.
We're trying to do radio. We're trying to do a broadcast here with. So let's pull up the schedule here again. And which
one of us is the meth head? That's all I want to know.
I don't know. I think you're the teacher. What was his name?
Oh my goodness. Oh man, what was her name? I don't remember now.
But so I'll have it back up again, guys. I just shut it. So if you look at the schedule here, you see. Let me make it a little smaller here. Houston and TCU. Now, TCU, I did not think they would have the record that they have now. And I'm very surprised that they've won. But Houston at TCU, who are you taking in this game, Joey?
TCU, easy. Houston is a dumpster fire. I mean, they're absolutely horrible. They're not, yeah. TCU's 3-2. Houston's 1-4, and their one lone victory was. Yeah, so without a doubt, TCU wins this game.
And why I pulled this up, Joey, is it's interesting because you look. I call it the oh shit meter, and that is the ticket pricing. You have Jacksonville State, Rich Rod's club, playing at Kennesaw State, and their tickets are $19. TCU tickets are $12.
Yeah,
that's how many shits they give about their football.
Yeah, at TCU, imagine that, $12. Now they're paying their coach millions. They won't make enough off this football game to pay their coach for the day.
Yeah, and this Michigan State at Oregon in Eugene for $17. I think the tickets are cheaper than a hot dog and beer. I mean, that's pretty good. So let's go up here. Of course. UCLA has to travel to Penn State. That's not a Big 12 game, but you can get tickets there at Beaver Stadium for $34. You'll never find that. Like, guys, tickets were $34 for a West Virginia team that hadn't won a game other than Albany. So our fan base really shows up. So I just got to point that out. That's why I think this is just slick. But moving down, let's talk about.
Which are another Big 12 game?
There is. It's on here, guys. You got to just scroll down. Just had it up. West Virginia comes up at Oklahoma State, guys. Boone Pickens Stadium, $66 a ticket. West Virginia and Oklahoma State. That's one I said last show's a coin toss, and people are going to hate me if you're a Mountaineer fan, but that's the honest truth. They have the odds at 3 to 3.5. And that's pretty spot on.
I think it is too. Because Oklahoma at a neutral site field or on home field advantage is automatically a 3-point favorite. On a neutral site field, it would be even. Now you got to figure in the talent and stuff and things and Oklahoma State may be a little bit better than West Virginia. They're not a lot better. Don't get me wrong. West Virginia can beat Oklahoma State, no problem. Our talent's just as good as theirs. But I think Oklahoma State's got a little bit more seasoned coach, a little bit better atmosphere with their coaching staff. A little bit more. They're more connected than the West Virginia coaching staff is right now. That's why I think Oklahoma State could win this game. Now, don't come. Now, I'm not calling this game as an Oklahoma State victory by any means. No. This is a game that I'm going to absolutely stay as far away from as I can because West Virginia is hungry and Oklahoma State's hungry, and it might be played in Stillwater, and that's why I'm going to give a slight edge to Oklahoma State here. But it's not going to surprise me one bit. West Virginia comes out here and just absolutely dominates Oklahoma State like Kansas State did. It would not surprise me.
Is on the outside looking in with 2 losses in conference, guys. They're 0-2 in the conference. This is the team that was picked in the top tier, and here they are. They've laid 2 goose eggs, and they didn't show up in the second half against Kansas State. So I don't know what's going to happen with this game, but if you look, the teams are matched up pretty evenly. I would give the coaching edge to Oklahoma State, home field advantage to Oklahoma State. That's why I think that 3-6 point, give Oklahoma State 3, maybe 6 points. But I'm thinking West Virginia's going to pull it out. If this is a game to lose, let West Virginia lose this one because they need to win out the rest because a head-to-head loss against a 2-loss Oklahoma State team, that's going to mean something down the road if they can win out.
And I can't see, honestly, I can't see this narrative that I'm seeing along a lot of group chats and Facebook and on X and all that stuff, but they're saying, well, Oklahoma State's a 2-loss Big 12 team. West Virginia should be able to take care of business. Oklahoma State's 2 losses were the two best teams in the conference, Utah and Kansas State. So, it's not like there's anything to look at. West Virginia's got losses to Penn State and Pitt. So if you think Oklahoma State's not better than Pitt, I don't know what rock you're sleeping under. So this is not going to be an easy game for West Virginia. I would have been felt so much better about this game if Oklahoma State would have taken out Kansas State last week. Because Oklahoma State be like, okay, West Virginia's coming to town. This will be an easy win. They'll overlook us a little bit. They're looking for their bye week because they go into a bye week after this West Virginia game. And that's what they'd be looking for if they would have won that game last week. But they lost. So they're hungry now. They want to go into their bye week with a victory, and they're pissed. So, yeah, I'm giving a slight edge to Oklahoma State here.
I'm surprised that they're not 1-1 in conference play, to be honest with you. I didn't think they would lose 2 in a row. I thought they were going to be 1-1 when they played West Virginia. And still, 0-2. If West Virginia loses 2 games, but they have this tiebreaker against Oklahoma State, it's going to mean a lot. Let's move on to the next Big 12 game, guys. You got Baylor and Iowa State, your darling, on our dark horse pick. Way back in May? In April we were talking about Iowa State.
We were talking about Iowa State, and guess what, guys? We're still talking about Iowa State. Why are we talking about Iowa State? Well, look at the wins they've had. They beat Iowa. Mm-hmm. Iowa, one of the better defensive teams in the country. Iowa State did manage to put 20 up against them, and wow, there's not too many teams that can score 20 points against Iowa. And Iowa State did it and beat them 20-19. Now, it was a very close game, but that game was played at Iowa. And, of course, kind kind of, I guess, doesn't matter. It's tit for tat because it's Iowa State and Iowa. But at the same time, it was a home game for Iowa. So Iowa State went into their house and beat them.
Yeah.
So,
And they
all
won
right.
2 out of
And
3 against
right.
them.
Then you got Arkansas State and Houston. Right. So no, not anybody of any importance. Right. So, but the way they beat them, Iowa State beat Arkansas State 52-7, and they held Houston to absolutely zip. They got no points in Houston, none. Iowa State's got a pretty solid defense there. If you look, Iowa State has given up 26 points all year long. All
Yeah,
year.
that defense is going to be something in the Big 12 where the Big 12's not known for defense. They're known for
Right.
putting up big numbers, almost look like a basketball score. Baylor is guilty of that when they play West Virginia. That those games are like 60-50 and 45-50. It's just ridiculous. But I think Baylor's going to get shut down. I think Ames, Iowa is going to be a rough place at 7:30 for the Baylor Bears. I think it's going to be Iowa State's going to smack the crap out of them. So here's one that's not a conference game, but it's if you're a fan of the Big 12 and you want to see some, a Big 12 team beat up on a once great program. UCF,
On an SEC team. How about that? Just say an SEC team. Leave it at that.
That's a bad word, but Florida. They're playing in the swamp, and I think UCF is going to go in there and beat them.
Oh, there's no doubt. Florida is they're not as bad as Florida State, but they're bad. Yeah, they're just not. They're not the Florida of old. UCF can go in there and win this game in the swamp. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game by any means. This is going to be a good close game. But yeah, UCF can go into the swamp and get a big win for the Big 12 over an SEC team, over what I would call Florida a semi blue blood or like right there close to a blue blood.
You know what?
So
I think they're blue blood. I mean, you might want to punch me for saying that, but I think they are, guys.
Maybe back in Steve Spurrier days, they were absolutely amazing. But face it, it is Florida. They get top recruits, but so does UCF. UCF gets some great recruits too, but not as good as Florida. So UCF going in there and knocking them out would be a big thing, and I think they can do it.
Florida reminds me of like Sears. It was the shit back in the day, and it was a powerhouse. How can it ever kind of not be what it is, But eventually, UCF being like an Amazon coming in and showing them the door. Hey guys, you got Kansas at Arizona State. I don't know what to think about this game. This is a head scratcher.
I know, and this is going to be a good game, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because these are two pretty equal teams the way they're both playing right now. Arizona State's shown some signs of being a better and more improved team than they were last year, right? And Kansas is showing signs of being a less team than they were last year and just falling apart. So I think this is a big game for Kansas because if they lose this game,
their season's over.
Their season is completely over. They don't have a chance for nothing. They've got to win this game. And Kansas and Arizona State might be one of the better games to watch this week if you're a Big 12 fan. Maybe not in the nation, of course. The national spotlight's not going to be on Kansas and Arizona State by any means. But Kansas and Arizona State for the Big 12, yeah, that could be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing. I'm still a fan of Lance Leipold, even though he's not my coach, so I can say that, But I'm sure they want to just run him out of town. But my gosh, he's a good coach. They play entertaining football. I mean, they're fun to watch. I don't care that they have those losses that they have in the conference. I think this is going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a great time at 8 o'clock. The Mountaineer game's going to be over. This is one I'm going to flip through and watch. But, let's move on to Texas Tech at Arizona. Another game played in the state of Arizona. Texas Tech looking a little bit more salty than what we gave them credit for. Same with Arizona, beating Utah.
Yeah, well, Texas Tech being 4-1, a little bit surprising. I mean, not completely though, because we we figure Texas Tech's going to be a solid team, right?
You said it.
Uh,
I disagreed with you. I was wrong. But you said it
yeah,
back in the day when we were doing the tiers, and you said Texas Tech. It don't they're not as bad as everybody says. But the
right.
guy
Now they
12
started out the season. They started out the season horrible with the loss to Wazoo, but
yeah,
Wazoo's been proven to be a pretty daggone good team. So that no that loss don't look so bad right now. They went on to destroy North Texas and they beat Arizona State. You know, not handily, but really, if you watch the game, pretty handily.
hmm
And then Cincinnati and Texas Tech. They beat Cincinnati 44-41. That was their closest game. Cincinnati's proven to be a team that can hang with some people. They hung with Pitt, and stuff. So, they came out and just absolutely annihilated Pitt like the first half. So,
yeah.
so Texas, but yeah, Texas Tech, I think, is one of those teams that can just upset people. I don't think they're a Big 12 um, dark horse even at this point. I don't think they're even going to come close to winning the Big 12 championship.
No,
But they're a team that could upset this Arizona team. And going into Arizona, Arizona might want to watch out. So, yeah, I think I'm not saying Texas Tech's going to win that game. It's another game I wouldn't really touch because of the situation where Texas Tech is wanting to get in there and get that Big 12 win. Arizona coming off a pretty good victory,
we
and
have a hangover.
yeah, have a hangover. So, just watch this game. It's going to be a little bit closer than I think people think.
Well, I think that fans of Arizona must have a hangover because no one's buying tickets to a prime time game. So if that's 11 o'clock, uh, it'd be what? It'd be like an 8 o'clock game our time. Tickets are going for $12. Where are the
Yeah,
fans after they just upset Utah? If in Morgantown, if West Virginia upset a top 10 team, next week you'd have to give a kidney to get into Mountaineer Field.
yeah, yeah, and you can get a ticket for $12 to Arizona right now, and that's pretty sad. But I think if you look across the board, all across the Big 12, by my estimation, just from looking, average cost of a ticket this week might be $50,
Right.
probably less than 50, and that's the average price of a ticket. So yeah, maybe there's not very many good games in the nation this year. To be honest with you, there's not very many good games in the country.
Not
So
this week. Not this week. No. So let's move on to our last segment here, Joey. So let me cue the music. Hey, I'm getting used to that. So, Morgantown is a strange place. And we've talked about, recruiting. We talked about the Big 12. Let's talk a little bit about this game coming up against Oklahoma State.
well, it's a big game for both programs, but who's it a bigger game for? Is it a bigger game for Oklahoma State? Is it a bigger game for West Virginia? I think it's a big game for both of them. But guess what? Oklahoma State coming off a very disappointing loss. God, I wish they could have beat Kansas State last week. I would feel so much better about us going into Stillwater. Them boys have been like, oh, good, after Kansas State and that hard victory, and we got that victory. We got West Virginia coming into our house, and then we get a bye week. And I think the team would just be like, you know, overlooking us a little bit. And you wouldn't have to overlook us even much for us to beat you. It's not that there's that much of a gap between West Virginia and Oklahoma State. It's just that if a couple of players on the team would overlook West Virginia and think, yeah, well, I just want to get to my bye week. That's all it would take for West Virginia to beat Oklahoma State. Now I think every player is going to be focused after that loss, and they're going to want to go into the bye week with a win. So it's going to be a little bit tougher game for West Virginia than we originally thought. Now, I have yet to give my prediction, and I have been saying all along that Oklahoma State might be the better team here. And I'm looking at Oklahoma State and thinking, okay, Oklahoma State could probably beat West Virginia, but West Virginia can seriously upset Oklahoma State. So here's my pick on this game, guys. Here's what I think. I truly believe that Kansas State's going to beat Oklahoma State twice. And what I mean by that is I think they're going to be hungover from their victory over, or from their loss over Kansas State. They're going to come into this game and start thinking, okay, God, we get a bye week. We're going to regroup. We get to think about things. We get to get things back online. We just got to win this game. But but at the same time, they're like in a medium spot. They're not in that fired up level. They're not in that downgrading level. So I think it'll be a tough game for West Virginia. But I really believe West Virginia is going to pull out a victory at Stillwater. Still yet, even right now, I think West Virginia is going to pull out a victory in Stillwater. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I really don't believe there will be a lot of scoring in this game. I think the final score is going to be something like 21-20, 21-17, 24-21, somewhere in that area. So that's what I'm thinking. And I think West Virginia pulls out a victory in Stillwater. You're muted, Shane.
I'm picking up what you're putting down because I'm in the same spot. 2 weeks ago, I thought Oklahoma State's going to give West Virginia their lunch. Last week, Oklahoma looked mortal, and West Virginia looked pretty good at times. Flashes, not top 25 team, but flashes that the offense could be top 25. If the defense can get a turnover, West Virginia's going to win. It's going to come down to a game of field possession and position, and also, whoever wins the turnover battle. And everybody says that, but it's actually going to happen. I think it's going to be like 28 to like 21, And last week I picked this score to the T. I hope I'm right this week. I hope West Virginia wins by a touchdown. And, guys, this is going to be big going into the Iowa State game. So we're going to talk about the next 3 games, just an overview. We're not going to get into detail, but just a quick what if. So my what if, Joey, I'll go first. West Virginia beats Oklahoma State. Then they play at home under the lights. It's like West Virginia 2.0. They got some wins under their belt. They got they got some new gear. Iowa State is no slouch. They're going to be coming to Morgantown. That will be critical. If West Virginia couldn't beat Iowa State, it's very, very likely. I think they have a very good chance of going to the championship for the Big 12. Your thoughts there?
Yeah. So if you look at West Virginia's schedule before and after Iowa State, you would say Iowa State's definitely like a trap game. If you looked at it like West Virginia was really, really good, and I think West Virginia is really, really good. I think their team's just not shown that yet, but I think they're a pretty good team. So the problem is with the Iowa State game, that's not a trap game for Iowa State. Excuse me,
No.
because before that game, they're playing Baylor this week. After that game, they're playing UCF. If you're Iowa State and you're looking at Baylor, West Virginia, UCF, okay, which one's going to give us the most problems? Definitely West Virginia, and that's what they're thinking. So, they're going to come into Morgantown. They'll be fired up and ready to go. So be ready for that one. That is going to be a big game, and especially if we can get by Oklahoma State, that's going to be a huge matchup. And it's a night kickoff. It's a primetime kickoff pretty much for that game. And we've got our black uniforms that Brian Joswiak absolutely fell in love with. And so I love you, Brian Joswiak. If you haven't seen that episode, I don't remember what it was called, but Brian Joswiak gave West Virginia University hell for getting them black uniforms.
I was so excited, and I said, Brian, what do you think? He's like, they suck.
Yeah, I want the traditional gold and blue. Yeah, and so but hey, we're sporting a new uniform. We're going to be fired up. We're going to be excited. We need a good crowd in Morgantown for that game. It's blackout, very black. Everything you've got black. Just be careful when you're walking out there at night and you're walking down the street wearing all black. Make sure you put a reflector or something on you so the cars can see you, or have something to let cars know they can see you. Because Morgantown down the strip in certain places can be pretty dark. So if you're going to cross the street and you're wearing all black, make sure that Yeah, God, I'm sure about that now. But
Yeah,
make
you
sure
look like
you
a lump
can.
of coal. But
Yeah, make sure that you can let somebody know. But anyway, I am looking forward to that game. I really am. That'll be great, and we're going to talk more about that next week, I'm sure.
next
Because
week, absolutely, we're
look,
gonna.
look,
But
we got
but
this week. This week is we can't worry about the next game, the
yeah,
Iowa State game. We got to worry about this game.
but the next, if these two games, and I know one game rolls into the other, but just if they split one of these two games, if they beat Oklahoma State, lose to Iowa State, or if they lose to Oklahoma State and beat Iowa State, they're still in a very good position because they have the tiebreaker to Oklahoma State, which still is a fantastic team. Utah's lost. I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell? In 2 weeks, we went from the sky is falling to, oh my gosh, there's a life raft,
Well,
and
it's not. It's a life raft so long as the team lets it be a life raft, right? So they've got 2 games coming up right here in a row that are both very tough games, and all they got to do is split them to be in like a 4-way tie for the Big 12 conference or second place, right after BYU and after Iowa State because they're both undefeated in the conference. But you could be in a like if you could split the next 2 games, it doesn't matter if we lose this week and win the next, or win this week and lose the next. If we can win both of them, be even better. But let's say we split them. Well, we're still in we're in this big tie for second place in the Big 12, so it's still wide open. So yeah, we've got to split the next 2 games at least, and really, I want to win them both. I want to win them both. I'm gonna be greedy right here. So give me both of them. I want to beat Oklahoma State. I want to beat Iowa State in a blackout in Morgantown, West Virginia, and anything short of that, I might be a little pissed off. Just to let you know.
I think Garrett Green shaked off all those cobwebs and nerves he had. The offense seems to be clicking along a little bit better. The injury bug. I haven't heard anything about Aubrey Burks, but yeah, I agree. West Virginia's going to, take care of business. Joey. So, with that being said, what is the one thing that you take away from this season at the midpoint here? And it's not quite the midpoint, but as far as, is it personnel, coaching, or scheduling? Because those things have been 3 of the hot topics, and we're going to talk about that next segment. Okay, Joey. So if you you remember that F Mary Kill? Remember that game?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to do with these 3: coaching. Okay. The other one would be scheduling, and the other one would be just overall team play. What are you going to do? I'll go first if you want to.
Well, I'm just going to say this with the scheduling thing. I love a tough schedule
Yeah.
because if you can do good, you're on top, and they can't nobody question it.
Right.
And if you're not good enough to beat Penn State, then what the hell are we sitting here worried about us getting to a playoff for? In all honesty, if we can't beat Penn State and Pitt, then what the hell are we worried about playing the Alabamas, Georgias, and Ohio States and Michigans of the world? In a playoff. So listen, you have to put this stuff into perspective. I feel like when it comes to scheduling, I'm all for a tough schedule. Now I realize it's hard on the players to play 11 Power 5 teams, and that's really tough. But at the same time, I love it. As a fan, I love it. Now listen, as a coach, I would absolutely hate it. As an athletic director, I'd absolutely hate it. So, that's my thoughts on the coaching. Or not on the coaching, but on the scheduling.
Yeah. I'll give you the take here. And I know that was it's very hard to be PC with this. There's only one way you can answer it without really making people upset. So first thing, you kill the schedule, because I'm not killing the coaching, because it's not quite to that point yet. But in 2 weeks, if they lose 2 or 3 games, I'm going to say kill the coaching. But kill the schedule. I'm gonna F the coaches and marry the talent, because I think we have talent. I like the talent. I think it's something you want to keep. But right now, the coaches, they need to do some work, and we need to. They seem to keep the kids' heads on their shoulders, and they didn't. We didn't lose the whole team as a fan base. I didn't see that, but these next 3 games, we're going to know exactly what we have, and I think Neil Brown still needs to have 8 wins to secure his job.
So tell me yours again, one more time.
So I'm going to F the coach. I'm going to marry the player's talent. I like that. And I'm going to kill the schedule, because, putting Alabama on the schedule, I don't think is going to benefit the Mountaineers much, because we're not recruiting in the same place. I would rather see a Penn State on there or Pitt. Honestly, I think it will bring more revenue to the university overall. Having a close rival, Virginia Tech. Let's play those cats again.
Well, I'm going to go a little bit opposite you. I'm going to F the schedule. So guess what? I'm going with my K. It's coaching. Yeah, I look. The coaching's just been horrendous at times. Not that every call or every play has been horrendous, but overall, it's just been bad coaching. Period. And I don't know if I so much mean this towards Dana Holgerson or even Chad Scott or even Jordan Leslie. Hey, I'm pointing this straight at our secondary coach. Young man, get your ass together. And if you can't get your ass together, maybe we should let one of the players coach secondary, because they couldn't do much worse. In all honesty, why are we paying you hundreds of thousands a year when we could probably just get an intern to coach as good as our secondary coach has been? How about that? Can we just get an intern to coach our secondary, and maybe then we could save some money, and we wouldn't have no worse of a secondary. That's how I feel. So
that's a great take.
So K the coaches. I'm not going to say that word, but K the coaches. So yeah, and F the schedule, because the schedule's brutal.
I love it, Joey. That's great. So the next segment here, we're going to talk a little bit about the injury report, and then we'll just go to comments for the night. So here comes the injury report.
I don't know of any.
Well, there's a few that I'm going to just mention here, and I didn't think we had any, but I thought they're pretty healthy. But there are 2 players, Reed Carrico and Justin Robinson. They didn't play against Kansas. So I know Justin Robinson saw some time earlier in the season, but their defensive players like Aubrey Burks and Sean Martin that went down during the game. But Aubrey Burks, I thought he was like half dead, but he showed up on the sideline dancing and carrying on. So, is he hurt or just had hurt feelings?
As far as I know, they're all back. As far as I know, everything's fine. The last I've heard.
The only one that's questionable is TJ Crandall, and I think he's a defensive back. So that's the only one that I know.
I'm subtracting out the players. There's quite a few of them that are out for the season. There's a couple of them that are out for season, and some for academic reasons, some for other reasons and stuff like that. I'm not counting none of those. I'm just saying, as a team, we're pretty healthy. I mean, we've been really lucky.
Fox was out for half and then played the second half, so he had a week to rest up. So I don't know of anybody else that's dinged up or on the injured list. So that's a pretty quick wrap up of what we have. And Thursday we'll talk about it some more on our channel, the crossover channels this Thursday, Joey.
And I'm working on getting an Oklahoma State guy to come on with us for this Thursday. And so I don't know how that's going to work out yet. We're trying to get some schedules together here. So it may possibly happen that we have a very good, very big Oklahoma State guy on with us. So just letting you guys know.
So yeah, so the very last thing we're gonna do tonight is our top 25. So it's gonna, and
Mm.
Joey, you know, just start getting ready because it's coming. We're gonna talk top 25. So here we go. Okay, here we go. Joey has his top 25 up, and we're gonna shoot through them.
Yeah.
First,
Now I think we just give them our picks. Is how I feel.
yep, exactly. I'm looking at this, and I think Oregon all the way. I like Sparky, but they're playing in Eugene.
Yeah, the line opened up at 24 and a half, and it's still 24. And there's no money going on Michigan State whatsoever. It doesn't seem like. Yeah, we're going to win this game pretty easy. And the over under is 52 and a half. I might stay away from that. I might stay away from the over under on that.
Yeah,
There's your next one.
UNLV is now in the top 25, Joey. So Syracuse going in here. I think you have a hot take here.
I do. This is my upset lock of the week, or this is one of them. I've got two of them. This is one of my upset locks of the week. Syracuse over UNLV at UNLV. UNLV is 6.5 point favorite. I'm taking Syracuse to win that game straight up, straight out, all the way. And the line has risen for UNLV because you got that Las Vegas money coming in there, right? Everybody's betting on Las Vegas, right? So it started out with a 4.5. Now it's at 6.5. But that Las Vegas money coming in there swaying that. There's probably not a lot of New York money coming in for Syracuse. Give me Syracuse to upset UNLV.
And Joey, I'm gonna ride that train. I agree. I'm picking Syracuse. Happy Valley, Penn State, UCLA travels to Penn State. I don't know if they have ever came out to State College to play. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But guys, this is a hell of a line.
It is, but if you look at the projected score is that Penn State will win by 27.3 points. So this thing here of 27 and a half, it's pretty much right on the money. There's a 95% probability that Penn State's going to win the game, right? And I agree with that 100%. Can they cover 27 and a half against UCLA? I don't know. You tell me. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the over and under here. It's 46 and a half. I'm taking the over on 46 and a half.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's gonna be they're gonna light it up. They're gonna light up the scoreboard. So let's talk Missouri and Texas A&M. This is gonna be very interesting. It's only at 2.5 under for Missouri. This could go either way, and I think they actually know that. So that's why it's 52% probability for the Missouri Tigers to win. So
What's amazing about this game is that the opening line had Texas A&M favored by 2. So this line has shifted quite a bit, a whole lot. A whole lot of money is being bet on Missouri. And when a whole lot of money is being bet on a team like that, that tells me that maybe even especially since it's Texas A&M, that maybe even some Texas fans are thinking, okay, maybe some Texas A&M fans are thinking, yeah, Missouri's probably going to manhandle us. I'm going to throw my money over on them. But guess what? This game's at Texas A&M, and they're going to be slapping them paddles, and they're going to have that A&M yell going or whatever.
Core cadets are going to be all in their khakis, going batshit crazy, and it's going to be a noon game.
Yeah.
So
can he and him beat Missouri? Here's my prediction on this. Absolutely not. Missouri will destroy A&M. That's my prediction.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take A&M. I think they're going to upset Missouri because
I flipped up. I flipped up on this one. And I'll be honest, I did, because I think even earlier I was like, Texas A&M is going to upset Missouri on this. And then it really wouldn't be an upset. -2 is not really an upset. It's not really an upset until after
it's 25 against the number 9, so you never know.
Yeah, so
SEC is crazy at times, but
probably your best bet on this one again would be to take the over 48.5. I would take the over 48.5 on this game.
Yeah. Talk about crazy. Louisville and Notre Dame last week. Louisville barely lost, respectable loss, and SMU has been playing tough this year. They're going to be in Louisville. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it opened up at -7. It's still -7. There's been absolutely no movement on this money line whatsoever. Um, I think the spot's about right. I think Louisville, because it's at Louisville. I think Louisville on a neutral field would be probably a 3-point favorite. So at home, I would definitely give them a 7-point favorite here. So yes, give me Louisville to beat SMU and cover there.
SMU has been playing close games all year. They lost that one against Baylor or BYU. Sorry, BYU. I'm going to take SMU in the 7 points. I think they're going to, if Louisville wins, it's going to be by a field goal. So I'm taking SMU.
Good deal. Our friend Dave Brown would not like your pick,
No,
but that's okay.
Iowa at the Ohio State. I have to say the Ohio State. I'll tell you what. If anybody's going to give Ohio State a run for their money, it's going to be Iowa. I think Iowa's not a bad team. 20 points though. 20 points, really? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's this line opened up with Ohio State at 23.5-point favorite. They're now a 20.5-point favorite. Definitely, people are betting on Iowa to cover. That's all that means is people are betting on Iowa to cover that spread, and they're raising that line.
I agree.
I don't think there's too many people betting on Iowa to win, but they're betting on Iowa to cover. I still would take Iowa to cover here at 20.5. I'm not taking Iowa to win. I'm gonna take them to cover.
Yeah, I think Ohio State wins by like 14 or 17, but not. It's not going to get 20 up to 21. I don't think they're going to get blown out. Defense is too good. Auburn at Georgia, the Dogs, just coming off a heartbreaking loss. Auburn not looking too terrible, but I think the Dogs win easily. Don't even look at the -24 because it's gonna just it's lying to you.
Yeah. The FBI projection on this is 21.5 points. The over under is 53.5, and Georgia's going to be pissed. Georgia's going to be pissed. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Georgia comes out and scores 45 points on their own. So the 53.5, I would probably even take the over, but I would definitely take Georgia to cover the 24 here.
Yeah, they're going to want to beat up on an Alabama team. It's the other Alabama team. It's Auburn. So, they're sick of the memes of the Alabama fans where it has Trump saying, "We eat dogs." Georgia's going to be eating some Auburn butt. So, Old Miss at South Cackalack. Old Miss, -9. I don't know. This is the head scratcher. South Carolina's not that bad. Ole Miss is pretty good. I wouldn't touch this with 10 bowl at all.
Ole Miss lost last week to a Kentucky team.
Yeah.
And guess what? South Carolina, I think, is a better team than Kentucky.
Yeah.
South Carolina beat LSU, by the way. South Carolina had 16 points taken off the board in that LSU game. And quite a few. Actually, if you watch that game like I did, they deserved all 16 points. I really didn't see anything to take them points off the board. So they absolutely, South Carolina absolutely annihilated LSU, if you ask me, in my opinion. So can Ole Miss go into South Carolina against a very, very good and talented South Carolina team after they just lost to a Kentucky team? Look, Ole Miss, this is another upset lock of mine this week. South Carolina is going to upset Ole Miss. It's a done deal. I feel it. I know it's going. I feel like it's going to happen.
I wouldn't put any money on, but that's a good take. So next one up is number 23 Indiana, coached by a West Virginia Mountaineer, Kurt Signetti, and his dad coached later on at IUP, my hometown, Indiana, PA. So, guys, Indiana's playing ball. They're 5-0. I think they should be higher than 23, and they're going to curb stomp Northwestern.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I take Indiana to cover this one. So.
Absolutely. Oh, this is a travesty. This is terrible. Poor Vanderbilt. It's only 22 points. It should be like 34 points. Alabama is going to have their way at 4:15. This game's going to be over at 4:30. So
Yeah.
set your alarm at 4:30. Might have 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Just go ahead and start watching your favorite Netflix show.
Yeah. Or just switch to another football game that's on at 4 o'clock, which
Like Mountaineers.
The Mountaineers. Just switch over to the Mountaineers and Oklahoma State at that point. Alabama will absolutely just manhandle Vanderbilt. That 22 is not enough points, if you ask me.
No. So Clemson, the Tigers at Florida State. This is one I want to take a Sharpie and circle. If I had my TV guide, I would be highlighting this thing. And guys, I don't care if Florida State is 1-4. I don't care if Clemson's 3-1. This is going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Because simple reason, Clemson's going to Florida State. This game opened up with Clemson a 15.5 point favorite, so there's some money going on Florida State. Now, whether it was going on in the cover or to win, I don't know, but it's persuaded that line by 1.5, and that's a lot. So I'm kind of interested in this game, and I don't know if I would touch this game or not. I will give you my pick, but I'm not. I don't think I would touch this game just simply because if you're Florida State. Clemson's coming. This is the freaking game you had circled on your calendar before the season ever started. So
Yeah.
I don't care how bad you are. This is going to be probably a pretty good game at 7 o'clock on ESPN. But I'm going to give the victory to Clemson. I think Clemson will pull it out. I'm not going to take them to cover the 14 though. So give me Florida State in the 14. I'm going to take the points. I'll take Florida State in the points, but I think Clemson wins the game.
I think Florida State pulls one out of their butt. I think they go to 2-4 on the season. They beat a top 15 team, which adds even more insult to injury for that Seminole nation because they're going to be really upset, like the season that what could have been if they beat a good Clemson team. I think that's what's going to happen. Utah State at Boise State. Oh man, they're playing on the Smurf turf.
Boise State all the way here. I'll take them to even cover this. The 27. I'll take them to cover that. Hell, I would have taken them to cover at 28. So, and the over under is 65.5. I wouldn't touch that, but Boise State will win this game pretty handily.
Yep. Number 4, Tennessee at Arkansas. Are they really a number 4 team? I would have to say they're definitely top 5. So, you can put them at a 5 or 4 either way, in my opinion. But at Arkansas, I don't know. I think Arkansas is going to cover. That's my opinion.
This is a game I went back and forth on a little bit when I was thinking about it. And I think what I would do here, Tennessee and Arkansas, honestly, I would take the under because it's at 59.5. And I could see this game being a 31-21, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. I don't think they're going to score 60 points.
Right. So I'm going to take the under. I think Tennessee could win it and be like a 31-21 something. I think I would just bet the under in this game, and I may be wrong on that. And they both come out and score 50 points apiece. Who knows? But I'm just going to take the under on that one.
Okay, now we have the bipolar Michigan Wolverines. You don't know what you're getting. They look like hammered dog poop, and then they look like a polished turd. But either way, they're still poop.
Well, now...
No, but they're going to win this one.
Well, the thing about it is, if we think about it, and seriously, if we think about this, Washington ain't setting the world on fire. Washington lost. So, Michigan at Washington, and Washington being a 2.5 point favorite, no way. You know what? I'm going to take Michigan to straight up win that game. I'm going to take a straight up upset in that game. And it's not really an upset because it's 2.5 points and it's at home. So Michigan's probably actually a 0.5 point favorite over Washington. So it's probably not an upset. But I am taking Michigan to straight up beat beat Washington.
And yeah, they're a number 10 team, even though they're traveling the whole way out to Washington. I picked them to win. So number 11 USC at Minnesota. The Gophers are 2-3. They look very pedestrian. USC showing some signs of life this year. They actually look pretty good. A couple of the games I have watched, so I'm definitely taking. I'm not going to touch the over under on this, but I'm taking USC. Yeah.
I'm taking USC, but I'm taking them for a totally different reason. Minnesota, PJ Fleck, a lot of controversy up there with PJ Fleck. The fan base is not happy.
No,
I don't know that the university is happy, and I'm sure PJ Fleck is feeling like he's not a part of home right now. To be honest with you, so I think USC wins this game big. So yeah, I take USC to cover.
yeah, I agree.
That's the last one.
Least, Iowa State is hosting Baylor, and they're 11.5-point favorite. I don't know why it's only 11.5 points. Maybe because the betting has been one direction. Let's take the. I would take the over, and I would take Iowa State. Either or.
Yeah, I don't know if I take the over, and here's why. I think Iowa State's got a really, really good defense. I think Baylor will be lucky to score 10 points this game. I really do. I think Baylor's going to be lucky to score 10 points, maybe 14. They might score 2 touchdowns. I don't see them getting by that much more. Now, that's just me, from what I've seen. I think Iowa State handles this game really, really easily, and the 11.5 is just not near enough points. Iowa State will absolutely annihilate Baylor. I feel like I could see a final score here of 45-14. So to me, I would take it over the 45.5, and I would take an Iowa State. Just my opinion. So this is not betting advice. Don't go bet money and then come sue me.
Don't take us. If you want to, then you have to talk to other folks on the channel about that. But let's talk to just see what some of the fans say. Todd thinks Mizzou's going to win. Tim Green says the Buckeyes are going to win big time. Auburn does not look good, Todd Quinn says. Tim's taking Clemson all day against Florida State. Tim also thinks Tennessee runs away late in the game. Clemson to win, but yeah, Florida State to cover. Yeah, that's USC. Don thinks USC is going to win. I agree. Todd also says Iowa State. And Todd says good night to everyone. Guys, it's been a good show. Been a good time. Joey, where are we gonna what are we doing Thursday on the crossover?
Well, we're going to do the crossover show, and like I say, I may have a special guest coming on from Oklahoma State. You guys will love it. You guys will have heard of him, I'm sure, and we will hopefully have him on with us. Still working out some details there. Still talking and trying to get this worked out. And let's pray, right, that we can get him on Thursday. And if not, I can guarantee you this much: we will have a great crossover show, even if it's just me and Shane. So, but hopefully we can get this
talk about. Thursday night's things are really gonna start heating up. We're gonna go through maybe if there's any news on that one injury. I mean, I think the one kid has hurt feelings on the West Virginia football team, and that's it. So we're blessed. It's a good position to be in. But what a great show. Joey, thanks for popping in. Silas says, let's go. West Virginia beat Okie. And ISU in the cold.
Okie light.
Okie light. I get it. Like IC light. So, guys, thanks again. It's been a great show. And we will catch you on Wednesday on the channel. Frank Fear and Company. Coach Chris, if you want to watch two guys that know some football, they've forgot more football than I've ever known. These guys are fantastic. So stay tuned. The Voice of College Football, all the channels, all the time. We'll bring it to you. Let's go, Mountaineers.